Before we can understand secondary dominant function, first we must understand primary dominant function. In order to do that, we have to understand tonic. Now, I don't mean a rat tonic, and I don't mean tonic water. What I mean is tonic chords, which is a chord built on the first note of the scale, or do, mi, and so. So if we are in the key of C major, C is the tonic note, and C, E, G would be the tonic chord. Now, when we do the fifth note of the scale, do, re, mi, fa, so, so, ti, re, ti, so, that would be the dominant chord, not dominant male or dominant genes, but a dominant chord. Similarly, in the key of F major, F would be the tonic note, which means F, A, and C would be the tonic triad, and then tonic going up to dominant would be 5 notes up, so a C chord would be the dominant. In the key of G major, G chord, tonic, and D would be the dominant note, so D, F sharp, A would be the dominant, so on and so forth. The most important concept when we are talking about the relationships between tonic and dominant is the leading tone resolving upward to tonic. The leading tone will always resolve up by half step. In the case of C major, the 5 chord, G, B, D, the B being the leading tone, will resolve up by half step to the C. Now, a leading tone can be in the key signature, or it can be from a secondary key in which an accidental will be used. On purpose, mind you. So, these are all examples of half-step relationships. A resolving up to B flat, G resolving up to A flat, F sharp resolving up to G, E sharp resolving up to F sharp, G double sharp to A sharp, or an alto clef, yay, alto clef, D sharp up to E. And these can either be from the key signature, or they can be accidentals used from a secondary key. There are other examples of how we might use an accidental outside of the key signature, which we are already familiar. For example, natural versus harmonic minor. Oh where has my leading tone gone? Oh, where can he be? Is it parallel major or a secondary key? Oh, where can he be? Remember that accidentals are never an accident. They are purposeful and have a theoretical harmonic function. Well, usually. For example, in the case of E minor, we have 1 sharp, F sharp, but we have a D sharp right here, which is the leading tone to E. La, ti, do, re, mi, fa, si, la. Although this does create the infamous augmented second, it gives us the leading tone and allows us to use a major 5 to minor 1 cadence. What does that D sharp come from? Oh, I'm so glad you asked. It comes from the parallel major key. D sharp and E major is in the key signature, and that's where the D sharp comes from in harmonic minor, borrowed from the parallel major key. The final review that we need to go over is dominant 7th chords. Now remember, when you have a major triad plus a minor 7th, it equals a dominant quality. So, when we have D, F sharp, A, and C, D, F sharp, A being a major triad, and D up to C natural as a minor 7th, that gives us a dominant quality. Now also remember that when you have a dominant quality, it always implies dominant function. So regardless of what scale degree it is built on, if it is a dominant quality, it is always dominant function. You may ask, while I continue to speak in an English accent, well, one of the reasons is that I thought it might make you pay attention to this entire video. And the other reason is that my favorite John Williams film score is Harry Potter. So you can answer that question on your worksheet. Now the moment you've been waiting for, secondary dominant function. Now, before we start, I would like for you to remember always that dominant quality always implies dominant function. So in other words, when you have a major triad with a minor 7th, that creates a dominant quality 7 chord. which automatically wants to lead us to a certain place. Without any other context, we play a dominant 7 chord in any key, it wants us to resolve, and it's because those tendency tones, the T resolving up to Do and the Fa resolving down to Mi. One function of an accidental is to lead into a secondary key, the third of a dominant 7th chord. For example, when we have simply a minor 2 chord in the key of C, that is the diatonic version of the D chord. Here's the key of C, here's the 2, D, F, A, minor triad. When we alter that chord to create the F sharp, that F sharp is the leading tone into G. We can also have a 2-7 chord, which is a minor 7 chord, that provides us with a minor triad, D, F, A, and a minor 7th, D to C. So in the key of C, all diatonic triads. And of course, with as good AP theory students would do, you wouldn't actually use the 2-7, you would use that's right, the 2-6-5. However, we can alter the 2-7 or the 2-6-5 to create a secondary function, 5-7 of 5, which would give us a major triad in the lower 3 notes, D, F sharp, A, and the major 7th between the D and the C. We put that together, and we automatically get dominant quality, which implies dominant function. But you're like, we can't call it a 2-7 in the key of C, because there isn't a 2 major 7 chord. 2 is minor. So what do? Because it is built on the 2nd scale degree, and yet it is a dominant quality, which always implies dominant function, we have to call it a 5-7 of 5. The F sharp is borrowed from the key of G. The F sharp is the leading tone in the key of G, so it is a secondary leading tone. That F sharp wants to lead us to G. So if we're going along in the key of C, down to the minor 6, and then a 2 chord, and then a 5-7 of 5, leading us to the 5, which resolves 5-7 to 1. And in there we had the 5-7 of 5, 5-7, 1. In the key of C minor, the 2 is diminished, as I'm sure you already know. 3 flats, we have D, F, and A flat. That provides us with a diminished 2 triad. Once again, we would never want to do that. We'd want to do 2 diminished 6. If we alter that, we do this in 2 different ways. We do the A natural on the top instead of A flat from the key signature, and we alter chromatically the F to F sharp. And once again, that creates a 5-7 of 5. Here's the 2 diminished, and here is the 5 of 5. Going along in the key of C minor. Diminished 2. 5-7 of 5. To the 5. Back to 1. Diatonic version of 2 diminished 7. And remember, in a minor key, the 2 is half diminished 7th chord, which means it is a diminished triad on the bottom, D, F, A flat, diminished triad, and a minor 7th rather than the diminished 7th, which gives us fully diminished. This is half diminished. However, if we alter once again the F sharp and the A natural, we get 5-7 of 5. Moving in a minor key, minor subdominant, 5-7 of 5, and then to the 5-7, back to the minor tonic. So it works both in major and minor keys. So on the bottom of this slide, you can see no altered notes, the diatonic versions of 1 to 4, simple tonic to subdominant. However, if we alter the B to B flat, we get a 5-7 of 4. A 5-7 of 4 is simply a 1 chord with the 7th lowered a half step, giving us that subtonic note that we would get in, say, C natural minor. But in this case, in this context, we get C, E, G, and B flat, which is a dominant quality, implying
dominant function. 5/7 of 4 resolving to 4. As you can see, we already have the E natural, which resolves up in a different voice, to F, but we have the B flat, which wants to resolve down by half step to A. So here's a C major triad, 5/7 of 4, resolving to 4. And in minor key, we can do the same thing, 5 of 4, resolving to 4, but in this case, it's a minor 4. Here's C minor, 5 of 4, to the 4. In this case, we have the E natural, away from the key signature. Or we can do 5/7 of 4. Here's the minor 1. Here's the 5/7 of 4, to the 4. And 5/7 of 5, to the 5. Works in major and minor. Isn't that wonderful?